What is going on, guys? It is time for another episode of the Chasing Waypoints podcast. We have arrived, episode number 74, and it's been a couple of weeks off. It's kind of weird. It was like, all of a sudden, it's 2 weeks later, and I'm trying to figure out what happened. But a lot has happened. And yeah, we're still having some fun. Anyway, all right, episode number 74 coming in hot. We're going to be talking a little bit more about Rally Raid, some of the stuff going on, some of the happenings, a little bit of news, and yeah, and a recent experience I guess we could talk about. I think that was pretty cool. So, trying to catch up, man. What is this adulting thing all about? Jeez. Work, more work, a little more work, some work after that. And then next thing you know, it's the weekend. And then the weekend, you know, seems like the fastest 48 hours you've ever experienced in your life. But then somehow the week drags on way beyond that. Anyway. All right, let's get into the show. Let's talk. Working on this here, turning down the volume here. Let's turn down the party. And we'll get right to it. So trying some new things here in the studio, trying to get some of that echo. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I can still kind of hear it. But anyway, let's see here. What do we got? Big news going on. Saw some news coming out of the Texas camp. We'll lead the show off with that one. Looks like Conflict Motorsports, as of a post of this week, is no longer. So folding up shop, sounds like some stuff going on there. And moving on, have not heard or spoken with Alex about it and what's been going on or what's happening. But I see some stuff happening on the internet and a lot of conversation about that. But you know, it's never good to see a company go that's in the industry. This is a very small industry that we operate in and work in and have fun and do. So like I said, it sucks, but you know, in the end, it's all about the community sticking together and everybody riding and doing their thing and helping each other out. So I think that it's sad to see it go, but you know, if it needed to happen, it needed to happen. And you know, we don't know what really is the story behind it until we hear it from him. So, but yeah, bummer. And then from there, let's see what else we got going on. There was a rally. I was working on some tracking over the past week and keeping an eye on a bunch of guys actually. That was really, really cool in regards to watching everybody run through the paces, get out, go through these different stages. Very unique setup in the way that the stages were set up. Eventually, maybe we'll be able to talk about said rally, but for now, there was a rally that went down here in the States that we were doing the tracking with via Rally Comp and was working with the organization on that and just keeping an eye on the guys, which was pretty cool. A lot of guys that are listeners to the podcast, which is really cool to hear them and get the thank you notes from them and letting me know, hey, you know, I appreciate you keeping an eye on us and all that stuff, which is cool. You know, we're working together to help the community grow. So anything that we can do to pitch in and work and help, you know, we want to do that. So in the end, hopefully we keep seeing this thing grow and we're getting closer and closer. 100 episodes, getting more and more questions. I mean, it's really, really awesome to see how this community is growing and how everybody's getting into it and finally put some road books to it. So total disclaimer, as part of the stuff that was going on this week, I have a new family member known as Caramel. She's a brown lab or chocolate lab. I don't know what that is. It was a brown lab, chocolate lab. So she is in the room. And so if you guys hear her yelping or barking, you have been warned. Anyway, okay, so let's get back into it. So we got a rally that just happened. We did the tracking on that one, and it was really, really cool to see. A lot of guys, there was a few cases where people were riding off into the sunset, but was able to rope them in, sending them a message, and then them contacting the organization directly. We did have another couple things. It actually went fairly smooth, right? I didn't really notice any or get any, have to handle any kind of like medical situations. Everything was more just like, hey, I made a wrong turn here and headed off into the wrong wrong side of the state. And so it brought up something that I thought that it was really, really cool, right? So rally navigation, there was a couple of instances where there's forks in the road, and you could see where if the odometer and how people were lined up for that particular note, if their odometer was ahead or behind, it would basically make them think that, okay, we're here, we have arrived at this particular note. And so once you get there, you start doubting yourself. You go, okay, well, my odometer must be off because here's the fork in the road, there's the bush, there's the that, there's the this, and everything lines up. And then you immediately take action. You follow the note at what you think is the correct note. And then the next note does not line up at all. Okay, I went the 4.3 kilometers to the next note. It says to make a left turn. There is absolutely nowhere I can make a left turn here. And so now it's like, okay, well, where did I go wrong? Well, at that point you realize, okay, well, I am before, I may made this turn in too early, or maybe I made it too late. So now it's a chance of, okay, we'll go back to where you know you were. And then from there, kind of continue on, like either, go forward. If you know that you didn't pass anything that could have down, like, was it here? Or if you got to that point and you realize that, okay, you know what, maybe it's just further down the road. Sometimes that's all it takes. Another 100 meters, another 200 meters, and there's your turn. And then again, that's just something that the road book language and who wrote the road book and who did the stuff. Those are the ones that you have to kind of figure out, like, that's what they mean by getting inside the person's head. You start to think, okay, like, this is how they write their road books. They are very on point with their distances. So you kind of learn to adjust and get better better at interpreting the notes and what the original road book creator was trying to tell you. And so a lot of notes, a lot of traveling, a lot of going around, and you're going to learn how to do it. And I think that a lot of the people, a lot of the newbies, people that I saw at the San Quintin Baja Rally training, that are still out there riding and still doing their thing. And that's really, really cool. You're seeing these people. It's like they're getting into the sport and they're staying. This goes all the way back to when we talked to Matthew from Rally Moto Shop. The used market for rally navigation equipment is virtually non-existent. So the people that buy this stuff, they get into it and they're like, this is awesome. This is what I want to keep doing. So I think that, the more people that try it and get into it, are going to help grow the sport. They're going to bring a buddy along. Hey, what are you doing with this? What are you doing with that? This morning, right, I posted the video of how I mounted the road book, the RB801, on my 850gs, and getting that ready for doing some adventure raid stuff. And I'm excited about that. We're getting into the summer months here in San Diego, so that means that the rides are going to be happening really early in the morning, just to help avoid getting into that summer heat. But and thinking about it, it's like, okay, well, we're gonna do these rides, and we're going to try and organize it so that people can go out and you don't have to be a dirt rider. You don't have to be somebody that's proficient at riding in the dirt. You just have to have a motorcycle. You got to be able to put a road book on it, have some kind of odometer setup, which I can share, a couple of different setups, and then go from there. You're right back to it, and you're all of a sudden you're navigating, and yeah, the terrain isn't challenging, and yes, it's not out in the middle of nowhere, but it's the idea, it's the chase of the waypoints, yeah. And you guys saw what I did there, right? That's really what it's about. And once you get into it, you get bitten by that rally bug. And then the next thing you know is you want to do the next road book, and then the next road book. This was fun. I want to try it again, or I want to do it again, which is something that I saw happen at the San Quintin training. Is they had these 3 really short courses set up on the rival day of Friday. And riders were going out and they were doing like 2 and 3 laps. And they were like, basically it's like, okay, well, first one I got lost. Second one I got it better. Third one I was like, okay, now I see how these notes work, how all of this works. Now I get it. And just by doing that was a win. And that allowed the riders in the next go around for the next day to go out and jump on a 30-kilometer stage, to go out and do a 100-kilometer stage after that one. So it gives you that confidence that you need. It was like, okay, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. You know, in my mind, I built it up to be this, and it's something different. So of course we're going to be a little hesitant about it, but once you start doing it, you realize like, oh, this isn't so bad. So that's my line of thinking. That's what I'm thinking. And I mean, and honestly, a lot of this stuff, I may actually not even ride it, but I may actually just make the road book in the car, you know, go out for a drive, find these roads, you know, figure out, you know, some stuff that's a little bit challenging, some stuff that you can navigate, but stuff that's easy. And for people to get the idea like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. You know, this is actually easier than I thought. And then it goes on to like, okay, well now I want to go out in the wild and do this. You know, I don't want to be here. I want to go out and do this in the desert, or I want to go out and do this another one. You know, or is there one with fire roads or what? You know, there's a lot of stuff that can be done with it. So, and case in point is so I rent my F850, the BMW. I rent that out on Twisted Road. And I have different guys, you know, come through, riders that, you know, they come into town or they're local. They want to go ride a bike, you know, for the week or for the day or whatever. I've had one guy that came from back east, and he rented the bike out for 12 days, I believe it was. And he was gone. Northern California. He took my bike places that I have yet to go, where I've been wanting to go. Took it up Caramon, out Laguna Seca area, all that area up there. Highway 1 and all that stuff. And I'm just like, oh, this is amazing. You know, these are things that I want to do on that bike. But, you know, it got to do it before I did. But in doing so, you know, the last time I rented it out, I did the chain and sprockets on it and, you know, just did the maintenance on it. And so I was like, you know, it's probably in my best interest to go take it for a test drive, go try and stretch the chain a little bit, you know, or not stretch it, but, you know, break the chain in and just make sure that the chain adjustment, the chain slack is all good and everything. And so I went and did that. You know, I took off from the house here and went out, and I got this little loop that I do, and it's like exactly takes a half hour to ride it. And I went and did that. And it had been a really long time since I had been on the BMW. And I really I realized that I actually kind of missed the way that bike rides. You know, it's a really, really, really good road bike with the ability to do some adventure stuff. And so, you know, I took it out and I'm riding this thing and I'm like, dude, this is like, all of a sudden I remembered, you know, the why I got into motorcycle riding and what was such a big, like a stress reliever. Like there was nothing, when you're on a motorcycle, generally you're not thinking about anything else. You're focused on the road, you're focused on your lines, and you're just riding the thing. You know, you're getting into corners, and it's not like in a car, right? In a car, you're sitting there and you just turn the steering wheel and yeah, it is what it is. And you got G-forces pulling you to the outside. Well, on a motorcycle, you're much more involved. You know, you're leaning into the corners, you're turning your head, you know, you're braking, and you feel the wind and you can judge speed, and it's a very different feeling, you know, riding a motorcycle. And that's the thing is like, just like rally, you know, you could be down this road 100 times in your car and you know every single bump, but the moment you get on a motorcycle, it's completely different. Just like in rally, I've been down this road 100 times. I know every single rock and twist and bump on this road. But once you put a road book in front of you, all of a sudden you don't know where you're going, you know? And so it really does change the dynamic of how you ride and how, you know, all the things that you do. I mean, it's really crazy. For those, you know, I don't know how many people listen to the show that may not be on motorcycles or have ridden motorcycles and they're just here, you know, more for the rally content. But, you know, a TW200 will do the job just fine, you know, just to get out and ride a motorcycle. You know, any of them. I mean, the Honda has their CRF 300 Rally, you know, KTM, the KTM 390 Adventure. You know, if there's bikes out there, and they're still, even when this crazy world of prices and all this stuff going on and inflation, they're still available at reasonable prices. You know, you could still get a hold of a bike. And so there's a whole world that people are missing out. So if you're tuned in and you've never ridden a motorcycle, you know, this may be your sign. You know, this might be the time to maybe give that a shot, you know. And maybe you'll see, maybe you'll like it, maybe you'll love it and you'll want to keep going, and maybe you won't, you know. But definitely it's one of those things that you kind of want to try and do. And I mean, there's safety classes out there. You can learn how to ride, and they'll teach you a bunch of stuff. And so it's not like you're going to have to absolutely go into this cold and not knowing. You can get trained, you can get classes, you can get people to help. Even friends will help you out. Just careful who you listen to. If you would trust them teaching you how to drive, then probably teaching you how to ride is right along those lanes. But sometimes we have that one friend who we just don't like riding with, and I think the rules should be extended to that. So I don't know, but yeah, that was my big thing. I was realizing, I was like, man, this is awesome. I missed riding and doing this stuff. So now, I'm thinking, okay, well, the 850's rented for the weekend, and we're getting into the busy time. So I'm definitely going to see where the bike is going to rent out some more, and I'm going to do some more of those test rides, and then I got the 790, the 790 is in the garage waiting for some attention. I got another tank from Raid Garage after my little incident out at the Get On ADV Fest. And so I got a tank sitting there. I got the chain and sprockets set up, dropping a tooth in the front, and then dropping one tooth in the rear to kind of balance out that change and not make it as harsh. And then from there, then it's going to be time to, put some mileage in, go ride the thing and get going. And they get this, continue on the suspension journey, and adjusting that and getting it done and keep going from there. It's not like it's something that I have to basically stop and not do, I guess. I mean, I don't know, there's a lot going on, a lot that I'm thinking. It's like how big of a deal it is to find something that gives you that kind of feeling of freedom, and then to be able to go out and ride, and, and both just a motorcycle, just the fact you own a motorcycle, and then also getting into Rally Raid. We're covering all of these rallies that are going around the world, or even if you just want to travel the U.S., and go around the U.S., there's plenty of stuff to do in the rally community already, and that's amazing. We have that ability to do that now. So it's just a matter of, okay, how are we going to get into this? And that's what I want to know, from you guys that are listening in the show or to the show. What are some of the things that for you would help you get into rally? What are the things that you're like, I really want to, but this is in the way, or I really want to, but that is kind of weird, and I don't know if I'm going to like that. What are the things that are maybe you feel like are kind of holding you back? Send me an email, check the Instagram. You can find the link there. Or hit me up directly through Instagram, or you can find me on Facebook, or you can find Chasing Waypoints on Facebook. Message there. I want to know. I'm curious, because there is a lot of aspects to it, and there could be a lot of moving pieces to it, but it's really not that bad. It's just kind of sometimes you need that, like, okay, no, do this and then do that, and then this is actually what you need. Don't worry about getting all of this other stuff. Sometimes that's all it takes, and then next thing you know, you're doing it. And honestly, creating a road book can be very, very simple, and it's actually as complicated as you want it to be. You can make a really bare bones, easy, nothing fancy road book, no symbols, no nothing, just basically arrows and distances. Or you can go full send, your arrows, your distances, your notes, your waypoints, all these different things. You can decorate the tulip box with the map part, the arrow that you see and all that. You could decorate it even further and get just really, really, really finite with it. But some people don't want to do that. They just want a basic road book. They just want to go out and ride, So it can be done, and I'm looking forward to sharing that journey as I create some of these road books for the Adventure Raid thing and get that moving. And because I think a lot of people can apply it in your own hometown, in your own place. Once you get that idea, and once you get a few people doing it, it's like, all right, next weekend's your turn, and the following weekend will be my turn again. And then the weekend after that, it's going to be his turn, and you just figure it out. You just start making road books, and next thing you know, you're riding road books. It doesn't matter where you're riding them. It just, the terrains vary, the challenges are different and all that stuff. But if you're navigating on the street, and before we go any further with that conversation, navigating usually involves looking down and keeping your eyes off the road. So by doing that, I recommend either you stop or you stop, and just it's not a race. It's about navigation. So take your time. If you don't understand a note, pull over, don't keep riding, just enjoy what you're doing, enjoy the art, enjoy the craft, and then just go from there. And, later on you'll get better at it. Some of these guys are able to memorize a complete tulip or 2 tulips or even 3 tulips that they're looking at, and they just go boom, boom, boom. They just knock each one out like if they knew where they were going. And there's a lot of different things that you can do that will help get you set up properly and go out and have the best time possible. So I think that is going to be the future. I think that a lot of people are going to get into the sport. I think we're going to see more rallies come up that are going to be here, on roads, things like that, fire roads, and then and it's just going to continue to grow, and then we're going to get into the more organized, structured events, like Kota Rally. We're going to start seeing, I feel like we're going to see more of those, and I hope we get more of those, because that's what we need to continue to grow the sport here in the States. And all it takes is just more people getting into it and just getting out there. So, I don't know. I mean, like I said, is, what are the things, that's my question to you guys. If you're tuned in, this question's for you. What were the things that were kind of like iffy when you got started in this, or what are the things that are holding you back from getting started in this? I really want to know that kind of stuff, because, we can tailor this to get more people into it, because the ultimate goal is let's get, more people into Rally Raid here stateside. Let's go on some more adventures. Let's go ride and let's go get some food. Let's, we'll do it the hard way, right? And that's not to say that this stuff that we're trying to do on a motorcycle doesn't mean that you couldn't turn around and do it in a car, and you get, you print out the road book and you navigate, or somebody navigates while you drive, and now it's an activity. And, whether it be with, family, significant other, if it's, the kid, something, now you have something else that you can do, and you can experience what some of these guys have to do by themselves in the middle of nowhere in some desert, and triple digit temperatures and nobody in sight. These are the things that make the biggest impact. You don't realize how big of a deal it is. You don't realize how big of a feeling it is when the road book just lines up and you're just, exactly where you're at, even though all you've been following is these pictures the whole way there. That's just amazing. So I hope, I do really hope to get some responses and get some people chatting about this stuff, because I think it's very important for us to help continue to grow the sport. So, all right. So moving on. So that was the whole experience, right? Getting the 850 back out of the garage and throwing a leg on it and riding it around and doing that. The next part of this is we're talking about scheduling. So I've been working on this one for a while, and it has just been hectic trying to pencil in the time. But today, that is what I've been doing. I know I was sending out emails for the guests for this coming few episodes. So finalizing that today, and for sure they're leaving today, and I'm getting this calendar going. So it's 4th of July weekend. So I'm looking forward to maybe even recording a few episodes and getting some people on the show. We got to get back to this in the bivouac thing, because I love meeting new people and talking to new people. And so I think that is definitely the best part. I think that's one of my favorite parts of doing the Chasing Waypoints podcast is talking and meeting with new people, and discovering just even more things, out there. And speaking of which, talking to people and getting all that stuff. So I got a message from Simon Edwards. So he was actually on the show not long ago. And in that, we were talking about his adventure down from basically Alaska all the way to the southern tip of South America. And in there, we talked about a video or a movie that they were doing in regards to this journey. Well, I got a message from him. It looks like Revzilla is getting really close to releasing it. There is an official trailer for it, and the name of the movie is called Where the Road Ends. So I've got to watch the trailer and kind of check that one out, and then I'm going to see and then we're patiently going to wait for the movie to actually premiere. So we'll see how that rolls on. And speaking of which, we're just jumping and moving right along here. Speaking of which, I definitely want to take a second to talk about this because it had been a while since I had watched a movie that, basically gave me goosebumps so many times, and this time around it came at the hands of the movie called The Desert Said Dance. For those of you that are not familiar, that movie, The Desert Said Dance, is a movie that follows basically Colton Udall, Nick Garvin, and a couple other riders down through, Forest and I just watched this movie and I'm already forgetting the names of these guys, and this sucks because they absolutely killed it in this movie. I'll find out right now. We'll get it, but it was for their journey for the Baja 1000, and it covers preparation. It covers actually the race itself, and so it was really, really, really cool to see. So I knew that it was coming out, and that it was going to be available. I just had not, had the chance to okay, this is where it's going to be. I need to ride out there. I need to drive up there, and to go watch it. And that just was not happening. So the good thing is that now it is available on Prime and Apple and a few others, for people to watch. So the team is Forrest Mitchen, Colton Udall, Derek Ossbauer, Nick Garvin. Those were the four on the team that we're looking at, that took on the Baja 1000, are the stars of this movie, The Desert Said Dance. Now, one of the things that I have to say about the movie, and I'm trying to figure out, where do we start with this? Because there was a really good, and this was directed by Lincoln Capis, and then Harrison Mark, executive producer, Forrest Mitchell, executive producer. So they had a really good team on this. Andy Golf, director of photography. So the standout things, right? I used to DJ, and I've always been really into music, and that was one of the standout things with this, is that the music and the soundscape that they created for this movie was really, really, I feel, spot on with what they were trying to do, the drama and adding that certain something to those scenes, even if it was just the street scenes and the sounds and things that they put on, and it just really changed the vibe of the movie. And then from there, for sure, the sound above all else, but the photography and the cinematography, I should say, and the color tones that they used. But more importantly, if you guys followed off-road racing movies and stuff like that, many of us have already seen or have seen it multiple times. We've seen the movie Dust to Glory, and we've seen these things. And Dust to Glory was a really good movie, and I think it may have been responsible for several people getting into this whole crazy world of off-road racing. But one of the things that really stood out about The Desert Said Dance is that I'm familiar with Ensenada, and I'm familiar with a lot of these places that they've been to and go to. And the way that they show it, and the way that there's a few scenes where you're like, yeah, I know exactly where that is. And then there's a few scenes where I know where that is. I just don't know where that is. And you're talking about them showing the city, they're showing places from a different perspective and in a different light and in a different way, that it really does change. It feels like this movie is all new and not just another movie about the Baja 1000 and a team's efforts for it. There's a lot of great movies out there for that, but this one in particular, I think was a little bit different. And it was really, I don't want to give a lot away in about the movie, because I do want people to go and watch it and see it. I'll drop a link. I'll drop a link in the description, and I'll be sharing a link here shortly on Instagram and there, because I think people should watch it for sure. But to me, one of the biggest things that is stood out is, I'm watching Colton. Colton Udall do his thing, building a bike, and that perfectionist side of him and doing what he does, and then going out and riding and doing everything. And, there's some scenes in there where there's some emotion behind it. And you can see where actually all the scenes had an emotion behind it. But there was a couple scenes where it was much more. And you could tell how much was riding on this and how much that racing and what he does in this sport and for him and what that means. And it was really, really awesome to see that. And I hope everybody can watch the movie. But, I'm watching him ride on some of these things. And I'm thinking, like, I remember we were talking on that episode and, just a few episodes ago where we talked with him, and I'm remembering, the things that he's saying, is like counting backwards while he's, physically exerting himself and doing all of these things. And Colton and the team, they're no joke. They are a team that when they show up at, a place, at a race, they are an immediate threat. They're an immediate person. They're an immediate team that you need to watch out for, because if you don't, they're right there. If they're not leading, they're right there. And I think that is to be able to compete at that level, have that recipe, have that attention to detail, and then at the same time, be a person that, like, you could literally be in a room and nobody would ever know that you're a 5-time Baja champion, and that, on any given day are extremely proficient at riding a motorcycle. So it really, like, stood out. And I think it was a really, really good movie. So for those of you that have not seen it, there's going to be a link in the description on this. And then there's going to be a link over on Instagram too. So you guys can check that out. So I'll repost it a few times to make sure, if you guys are listening to this episode a couple of days down the road, there's a link there for you. But I don't know. It was really cool. I enjoyed the movie for sure. I really did like, everything about it. It was really awesome to see that. The last real major off-road movie that I watched, of course, was Dust to Glory. And, and of course there's the other videos that you see online and on YouTube and stuff that you kind of get an idea of what these guys are doing and what's happening, but nothing like this. This was a little bit different. So I highly recommend it. Like I said, the link will be in the description and it'll also be on Instagram for you guys to check out. But yeah, so that's been the goal. Let's see what else. What else is happening? Project 501. We're getting there. Despite my best efforts, I still cannot find the axle block. So I can finish putting the rear axle on, which is annoying because the garage is a single car garage. And for some reason, I still can't find it in said single car garage. But I ordered another one. I thought the order went through. It's been like 2 weeks, and I've just been so busy that I don't even know where it's at. I thought I ordered it. I'm going to have to go check the websites and see if, what happened. But it was in stock, and I should have had it within a couple of days, but apparently not. So get a drink of the beverage there. You guys can hear the ice cubes floating around. But anyway, yeah, so got that going. Getting back on the 2 wheels, getting back on the bicycle. Built up a mountain bike with the help of my brother, getting that, giving me the recipe, setting up the wheels, getting that stuff and kind of guiding me so I wouldn't face plant the first time I go out and ride it because I left a bolt loose or left the wheel loose. So goal is, get that heart rate, get that, that stuff going again. Get my balance back, maybe slowly work in jumping and body position and all that stuff. And yeah, it's easy. You can do it on a dirt bike. The difference is on a dirt bike, you're usually doing, 45 plus, where on a mountain bike, you're generally not going that fast. So, I think, I still got a little bit of work to do on it, but one project at a time, time management and organizing all of that stuff, because man, like I said, adulting, they were not preparing us for this. So hopefully everything is lined up, and we can get moving on to the next couple of projects, get that 501 going. November, we have the fundraiser for Dakar for Jacob Argybright. So definitely want to be out for that one. I've seen tons of posts from Gnarly Dave making it happen and getting some road books ready for the event and just out riding and living the life. So definitely got to be ready for that one and get out there. So if you guys want more information, same thing, don't hesitate, hit me up. Happy to provide some information for you guys and kind of figure out or help you with your game plan on getting to the event. I think it's going to be a really good time. I think that it'll be really, really cool to see everybody. Maybe meet, put some names to faces. There's a lot of people that listen in and tune in, and I unfortunately have not had the pleasure of meeting you yet, but it'll happen. We got a ton of events coming up. I'm definitely looking at being in the bivouac for a few of them, hanging out and talking to people and just kind of see what's going on and what's what. So that'll be coming soon. We just got a little bit of a gap here. Up next, as far as rally goes, is going to be the Kota rally. And then followed behind that is going to be, Kota. Then we go to Baja Rally, and then we go to Sonora Rally. So, and then you're going to sprinkle in the the Morocco Desert Challenge, and then you've also got this last one, the Andalusia Rally, that was canceled as well here just a couple weeks ago, which is cool to see. Mason Klein not skipping a beat, training and working hard at the gym, at the Nielsen training facility back in Europe. So it was really cool to see that going on. No wasted time, no wasted effort, which was really awesome. So hopefully we'll get him back on the show here soon or in the next few weeks. But like I said, I'm going to be working on all the future guests and making sure that I get an email, reaching out, making contact with them, and getting ready for this, because I think it's going to be huge. I think there will be a lot of people that are going to be interested in it and hearing more and learning more from guys that have been doing this forever and a half, and even if they haven't, even the newbie guy, you're going to learn some stuff, because there are things that they learn that you think, well, I don't know, where did they pick it up from? Where did the habit come from? Is this a YouTube navigation video? Was this somebody that actually passed on some knowledge? There's a ton of things that work getting into this, but the more we can share as a community and help and be champions for our own sport and help grow our own sport, the better we're going to be. So I'm looking forward to helping and contributing to that and making as much of it happen as possible. Like I said, I really am stoked to be getting on the bike and going and riding. On that test ride that I did, I was like, I was at a 4-way intersection, and I'm thinking, okay, like if this was a note in the road book, what would it look like? And, in my head, I'm drawing it out and like, okay, the stop's here, the intersection, these notes over here, these notes over here, the distances. Like I'm just visualizing what this note is going to look like in the road book. And I'm like, this needs to happen. Because there would be nothing greater than just to have people navigating and navigating the back roads. And all it takes, seriously, is the road book holder and something that gives you your distance. So there's a couple of ways to do that, but basically you just need something that's giving you distance that's easy to read. Because what ultimately ends up happening is that you may continue to move while you're doing this. It's up to you. Or you may stop, but you want to make sure you have the right instruments and that you can read them for whichever scenario you subscribe to. Because again, the idea is to go out and have fun and have more fun and come back wanting more road books, so that at least is the game plan. So that's what I'm going to be doing and working on. Again, the goal is to try and get as much out this coming weekend. Hopefully do it in packages, so it's not an overload of information and whatnot. So yeah. So we'll see. Anyway, I think we pretty much covered everything. Like I said, literally, I'm going to be working on uploading this episode as I'm writing out emails and sending stuff out. So if you like what you heard, don't forget, share, like, subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. We finally hit 18,000 total plays across 73 episodes. So we'll see what 74 episodes looks like here in the next few weeks. But I am absolutely stoked to see where we're headed and where we're going. And we continue to grow, even though, and I do apologize for that 2-week break that we just took. We are back in it. We're back at it. and looking for ideas. Let's talk. You got an idea? You want to be on the show? Let's talk a little bit about it. Let's see what we're doing. So anyway, all right, guys. With that being said, do not forget shiny side up, and we will see you guys for the next episode. All right, that is a wrap for the Chasing Waypoints podcast this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you heard. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and a bunch of others. Also, follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook under Chasing Waypoints, Instagram Chasing Waypoints _official, and of course, the YouTube under Chasing Waypoints. Hope everybody has a good week. We will see you guys for the next episode. Remember, shiny side up, and don't forget to tag us. We want to see where you guys are riding and what you guys are up to. Have a great week.